Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to this beautiful Saturday morning of the National Conference Day number 2. So I see a few familiar faces who were in track A yesterday as well, so thank you for your patronage. And so today we are here to discuss a very, very important and a relevant topic, which impacts both you and me on a daily basis. Of course, our audit universe, our life cycle is all impacted by the disruption through digitalization and the changing audit landscape. So to do the honors, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Mr. Jaishil Shah. Welcome, sir. So Jaishil is a thorough professional with 20 years of experience into risk advisory practices from Deloitte fraternity. Now Jaishil specializes in data analytics, third-party risk management, process transformation, enterprise risk management, internal audit, and model business processes, right? So while Jaishil claims to be a workaholic, I'm sure he is, as consultants do have a tough time. So indeed, he's a workaholic. And you know what motivates him is very exciting. The fact of adapting to changing technologies and business needs is what keeps him going. Brilliant. So, friends, I'm sure, when you speak to a lot of consultants, I don't know if you have realized it or not, I at times feel, I don't know so much. Have you realized when you speak to consultants, they throw at you so many words, jargons, and they really make you feel, are you really relevant? Are you in touch with so many things? So, one interesting observation when I was reading his profile, so Jagdish says, or rather, sorry, Jaishil says, he's a total hodophile. He's a total hodophile. How many of you know what's a hodophile? Raise of hands. Brilliant. None. So you see, how can consultants play with words? So if I write something like this in my report, first thing they'll circle that. What is hodophile? Then I'll do right-click synonyms. Is there any better word? And then the comment will come, keep it simple. So basically, friends, this is just a litmus test of telling you how beautifully the consultants can speak the vocabulary. And hodophile basically means, I'm glad he's a total hodophile because his job loves him to be an hodophile. Now you must be cursing me. See, he's Googling there. What is hodophile? So now that I've teased you enough, hodophile is basically a person who loves traveling. As simple as that it was, but you see how can language complicate it. So well, on that note, I should tell you, I'm extremely delighted to have someone as a great speaker as him. And his very simple secret of success is hard work plus smart work is equal to a formula, prudent work. So on that note, over to you, Jaishil. Thank you.
Thanks, Ashish. Thanks, Ashish.
Yeah, can you hear it? No? I think it's the button.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Thank you. Thanks, Ashish. So I'll now try and make it very simple for you guys. I have been given a difficult digital kind of, topic. So I will try and make it as simple as possible for you guys in next 45 minutes or so. And we would like to make it interactive, guys. So don't, it's not like a monologue, though it's like I'm giving a presentation, but it's not a monologue. So please do ask questions, whatever you think is relevant. This is a knowledge sharing session. So whatever I am aware of, I will try and, give you that details. But whatever I am not, I will give you back a little later as well. Because technology is a big world. And as Sid said today, I think disruption is going to happen. And adoption of technology is a no-brainer, right? So astrology is also directing towards it. So I think adapting to technology is no-brainer. And we all need to embrace technology, use it to our best ability, and see to it that we get, the output which is more relevant for the organizations that we are working in. Having said that, I'll quickly jump into the topic. As Ashish said, I am a thorough internal audit professional. I have never done any other work apart from internal audit or allied services in my professional career. except for articleship, 1.5 years I did tax, and then I got bored going to income tax office, so I said I'm not doing tax, and then statutory audit had too much of pressure at that point in time, so I said I'll do internal audit. And that's where I am. I'm partner with Deloitte, and what I will do in next 45 minutes is briefly take you through what we believe is changing in today's environment, where we believe we can use or adopt technology within IA. So within IA, what are the areas that we have seen in various organizations, or we are seeing in various organizations, as to what people are adapting, how they are adapting, what is the kind of broader perspective that IA, if IA is sponsoring the whole technology project, then what is it, what are the considerations that you should look into, and some of the use cases that we have specifically on the advanced analytics side or the AI ML side. I will discuss some of those use cases with you. So today, friends, as you know, the world is changing very fast. The external forces are changing very fast, and there is a huge expectations from stakeholders which is increasing for the internal audit. I don't know what you are seeing in your organization, but wherever some of the organizations who do consider internal audit as a great team who can give a lot of insights, there is a lot of stakeholder expectations which are changing. There is emerging risk which is changing. There is a lot of data which is available to our use. There is a lot of front-end processes or systems and processes for the businesses are transforming. Now, if we don't transform at that pace, I think we ourselves will be not relevant. And hence that transformation is, meaning it's not even a question in my view. It's not even a question that internal auditors should not transform. So internal audit has to transform. It has to take into light what are the various processes that are getting transformed and how to use digital in its best way, so that there is no surprises for the organizations that you are working. And hence digital implementation and digital adoption is going to be very, very important and critical for all the organizations to succeed, and specifically in internal audit, because we look at various departments, we look at the entire organization, and the fact is that all the systems and processes and transformation is going at a rapid pace, and if we don't actually work in that pace, it will not work for us. Hence, the external factors, the changing regulations. Also, one of the thing is that there is a lot of cost pressures on internal audit, right? I don't know how you guys think, but within internal audit function, you will be asked to either tighten your budgets, or you will be asked to do more with less and stuff like that. Now, if that is what is going to happen, you need to adapt technology to the best of the ability, so that you can give that increased assurance in some of the BAU audits. So, if you look at the entire audit universe, there will be certain audits which are BAU, business as usual, right? Meaning it's not too much, but it is very important for you to give assurance, but you really don't get too many issues because it is a very mature process, or it has happened in a very there is enough maturity that we have proven in our past reports. Now, if we have to pick up some of those areas, then that will become those can be digitized, and you can give assurance through analytics and through the entire piece around managing those processes in a better way. So that is where you need to split your audit universe into various buckets as to where analytics can be adapted, where analytics cannot be adapted. So digital internal audit in our view typically is that we have these three layers where we can implement digitization within internal audit. So the first is internal audit analytics. Now analytics is, again, people are talking since long. There have been use cases, There have been different areas where we have adapted analytics, and then there are certain areas where we have not adapted analytics. Now analytics is again not like a night job or a job that you do it once in your lifetime. For example, I'll just take simple examples because I think Ashish has set the context of not using consultant words. So for example, if you are doing a P2P audit or you are doing a vendor master thing, now things will keep on changing in the front end processes, right? Because there is huge amount of transformation happening across the department. Now if you do this analytics once a year, or you review this particular process, or you do implement the analytics once a year and then forget it like a night job, it will not work, guys. It will not work. It's a full-fledged investment that you will have to think, because the front end processes will keep on transforming, and if your analytics engine is not getting transformed accordingly, it will always throw false positive or wrong output, which you will get into tussle with your process owners and stakeholders. So which is where analytics is very important, that you keep on having proper structure around it with regards to your who is managing it. So from people side, what is the kind of data that you are analyzing? What is it having a single source of truth? Where are you basically taking that data from? All of those are very important elements when I talk about internal audit analytics. The second piece is around automation. Now automation, so there are two types of automation that I will like to speak. One is automation within internal audit, and second is also automation happening outside in other functions. How are you auditing them? These two are different concepts, right? So automation within internal audit, again, I would say no-brainer, right from your sampling methodology, which is where you can use your analytics, your entire vouching capability. If you can build some sort of document management system, etc., it can actually store with regards to what is it that you have audited and whether it is pass fail, and the entire, if you can use some NLG technology, you can actually, we have been successful in terms of issuing draft reports from that particular software as well. So when you use NLG technology, it can help you in terms of making a structured data into text or report form, and that can give you the output in terms of, people spend a lot of time in terms of writing the reports and correcting English, right? So sometimes I feel that we are English teachers or English class people, but that I think can be clearly automated through NLG, where you can actually issue your reports in graphical formats, in various formats, through that particular technology. The other concept within automation of internal audit is also around remote internal audit. Now today we are, as I said earlier, we are having a lot of cost pressures. Now how do we actually automate the internal audit and get it done remotely? Because it is not possible for everyone, and we have seen this in COVID times, right? So we have used Teams, Zoom, etc. very effectively. But now if we have this whole automated end-to-end audit management life cycle, which is happening through a system, you can actually do a lot of remote auditing, and you can actually give the comfort on that particular area through remote auditing. There are certain aspects within internal audit where you will have to go physically. I am not saying no, but remote auditing what can happen is that you can actually do 80% of the work sitting in your office or wherever, sitting at your back office or wherever, and then the remaining 15-20% where you really need to go physical, because there is a lot of interaction in internal audit as well, right? So that piece to automate we have not yet seen, but otherwise there is lots and lots that you can automate within the entire audit management life cycle. The third piece which is important is the amount of technologies that are being used by the front end team, right? Now how do you actually audit some of those process? Now if you see, earlier we used to take 50 samples, 40 samples, 25 samples, etc. Now if you audit in that manner, and if there is certain tech configuration level issue or a design level issue, what you will pick up is only, you know, probably 0 cases or very minuscule cases. But for example, imagine one of the case where we had seen also, they had implemented bots for payment cycle, right? Now what we got to know is that there was a bug in a bot because of which a particular type of payment used to always happen twice for a particular vendor category, because there was a bug in the system and it was in the bot, and it was not very well audited. Now we didn't pick that particular category while we were auditing. We didn't actually check the design, and imagine the issue, because that particular type of vendor payment always used to happen twice, and there was one good vendor who came and said, boss, why are you guys paying high? And that's how the company got to know. So if you don't do the audit or the design of that particular bot properly, if you don't validate it effectively, and if you don't come up with that design level issue, the whole auditing methodology and the techniques will change over a period of time, because here now you will have to do the audit of that bot with regards to how is the design and how is the configuration and is there any challenge, which is very different than the skill set that we all have, right? Not that I also have a great technology skill set. I am a chartered accountant, so I don't have a great technology skill set, but I am, as Ashish said, I am trying to adapt to it. And we all will have to upskill ourselves to adapt to it, otherwise we will not be relevant. So these are the 3 areas which we believe in digital internal audit, where internal auditors can help and internal auditors need to basically add value on. Just a few technology capabilities which are available, which we have used within internal audit. So the first one is around the entire continuous monitoring. So you have your SQL, Alteryx, all of these things which you can use for your continuous monitoring. Here the whole idea is, how do you structure it, how do you basically make it as a program, and you don't take it as a night job or one-time job, because if you take it as a one-time job, those analytics will not be useful for you after 3 to 6 months. I'll tell you how. We were tracking exactly, the field guys. So we were tracking field expenses through analytics, or there was a field special rate which was being given, right? So we were tracking that through analytics. When we started tracking in 6 months, because we were getting all the exceptions on regular basis, we used to go back and tell the front end team, they used to correct it, and after 6 months there was no exception which was coming out. Now if you ask me, the field guy is not going to change overnight in 6 months and be very hunky-dory. So what they did is, they basically got up with a loophole and they tried to do it in another manner. Now if we would not have not up our game, and we would have not actually done the analytics again and again, or different type of analytics, these would have missed out. So because once you start tracking something, what will happen is that the front end team, the first line of defense, or the front end team typically will try and do things in different manner, and which is where continuous monitoring is a continuous work in my view. It is not like one time you have done it and everything is automated. It's a myth in my view that once you do it, then everything is automated and everything will work very well. Any questions, guys? Please ask. Anything that you all want to know, please ask. The second piece is around data visualization. So data visualizations, again, you have Power BI, Tableau, etc. Now there is another area where Power BI has come up with a storyteller kind of a feature. What it does is, if you have 40 dashboards, for example, now what the problem is, how to get the insight from those 40 dashboards, because each dashboard is not talking to each other. There are various dashboards. So how do you really get insight which is really useful for you? So here what we are trying to do is, we are trying to correlate all those 40 data analytics example, and we are trying to basically tell a story as to what is the correlation within these 40, and which are really a high risk, which are okay types and stuff like that. So which is where we have gone ahead of normal data analytics, which is visualization, but also trying to further get the insight out of these dashboards. The third piece, which is data management, I think it's the biggest piece with regards to internal auditor, with regards to what is it that we are trying to analyze, what is the kind of data that we are taking, where is the data coming from. So here people have started using Azure and AWS, etc. Now, how is the data coming in that data factory, from where you are actually looking at the data, or you are taking the data and then further analyzing? So you need to first audit how is the data coming into the data factory and what is the data that you are getting for further analysis. So that whole data validation becomes very, very critical when we are looking at the overall data management and cloud integration. So where your data is coming from, how is it getting linked, what is the kind of data factory models that are used where the data is being ingested, and from there how is it that you are taking into your analytics scripts, which is SQL or Alteryx or whatever you are using, and from there it gets analyzed. So imagine if your source of data is incorrect, all your further output is incorrect. Hence, it is very critical and important that you validate what is the source and where is the data coming from. And if your companies are having data lake or data warehouse or data factory, some of these words that if you would have heard, then it is very important that you take data from there, because data factory or data warehouse, what it does is, hello, it's okay? Yeah. So what it does is that it actually is capable of not only pulling the data from your ERP systems, but it will pull from all your allied systems as well as Microsoft Excel. So if there are certain critical data points which are maintained in Excel, if you put it as a table in the data factory, you can actually take that data also and link it with your ERP very easily. And hence data factory and data management is very important when we are talking about data analytics. The fourth piece is around machine learning, where we discover patterns and correlations. So you have tools like Python, R, etc. And in the next slides I will speak about certain use cases that we have implemented in some of these areas. NLP and NLG are very important. NLG, I gave you an example around report writing, where we are using very effectively. NLP is a very important thing. Wherever you have unstructured data, it helps you pull it in a structured manner, and basis that structure, it helps you to analyze. So what it does is, for example, you have an image. It basically extracts that image, pulls it into an Excel format kind of thing, or table format kind of thing in a text way, and from there you can actually build your analysis. So which is what NLP does. So NLP does unstructured to structure, and NLG does structure to unstructure. So I am just trying to use as simple words as possible. So please ask if there are any questions. RPA is any repetitive task that you have which you believe in your audit. So for example, data extraction, where we are using RPA the most. So for example, data extraction, you need to extract data from either the data lake or your ERP system, which is where we are using RPA very effectively with regards to extracting the data and basically seeing to it that it gets analyzed better. So the overall extraction piece is where we are using RPA effectively. These are some English words, I'll just skip that. So where is the opportunity in the entire IA journey, right? So I think there is humongous amount of opportunity right from your planning, fieldwork and reporting. If you see in planning also, you have heaps of data. You do a lot of your audit committee directors interview, you do a lot of interviews with your business process owners, and you would have done that in last 2-3 years as well, right? Now, for example, if you use that NLP technology, which can convert that unstructured data in whatever Word document, if you create MOMs, etc., from there, it can extract that and tell you what is it that the business process owner is trying to say, or what is it that your CEO is trying to say, or COO is trying to say, and it can help you analyze with regards to what is the sentiment that people are having on ground with regards to which areas to cover, where to cover, etc. The other piece where planning helps a lot is also with regards to, for example, imagine you have multiple plants, you have multiple branches, you have multiple depots, etc., etc., right? Now, for each of these areas, if you can actually define qualitative and quantitative parameters, and you actually use a supervised learning method or an unsupervised learning method, machine learning method, you can actually correlate that data, and it can tell you that in this particular quarter, which is the depot which is behaving not normally, which is deviating from the standard deviation to great extent, and which is the branch, for instance, where you probably need an audit immediately. So it will give you cluster wise which is the branch which is doing good, which is the branch which is not doing good, and it considers both quantitative as well as qualitative parameters. So some of the quantitative parameters will be your sales number, receivables, etc., etc. Some of the qualitative parameters they will also consider is around the entire positioning of your HR, meaning people over there. Is there a significant change over there or churn over there? Which is what they will consider, and which is where you can actually try and prioritize which area to attack on. The second piece is around the fieldwork part. Fieldwork, I think there is humongous amount of opportunity where we can use analytics, be it machine learning, be it AI. We can use, there are too many use cases around that. Different businesses, but there are too many use cases around that. We've been even successful. For example, if you have a lot of employee reimbursements, right? You have PDF files where the party claims. So for example, Hotel Ganesh is where he has had the food, right? And the other employee also claims Hotel Ganesh with a similar amount. What this technology does is, it will basically, it's an KNN algorithm, but what it does is typically it will pick the pictures of those PDF files from those PDF files, and if there is a relation between that, it will catch that and come back and throw that these probably are exceptions which you should consider in your sample. So I'm just trying to simplistically say, but this is what it does, right? Now imagine if you have heaps and heaps of transactions where you really don't know how do you actually do this audit, and how do you give assurance across various samples, right? So this is the technology which can really help you. Another piece which we have used is NLP technology, where for example we were that particular client was giving a lot of radio ads in any radio station. Now what this NLP technology did is, it basically heard whenever, so it will be basically running on that radio channel, it will hear what is the duration of the ad and at what spot that particular ad was being played. And we had what is the planning document. So when we come, and it gives in a normal table format, which we can compare with our planning document and come back and tell what are the deviations, right? So that's how we are using technology. Another piece is on, for example, toll. You have your car going. There is a technology which is neural network and deep learning. What that does is, it will basically capture what kind of vehicle is it. Either it's a normal commercial vehicle or a truck, etc., etc. And it will recalculate the revenue for certain days once you put it on the toll booth. So what it is doing is, it is actually giving a comfort on the revenue which is getting accrued by the first line, second line, and you can actually recalculate that and give the comfort whether it is really useful or not. Now these are some of the use cases which we have implemented, which we are saying, but first and foremost, these are little complicated ones. First and foremost, I think where internal audit can really add value is normal analytics. I don't think so, and you know, you guys can tell me what is your view, meaning how is analytics in your organization? What is your thinking of maturity of analytics in your organization? And how do you think it is? In my view, it is not so high, and which is where I think first is the basic analytics, continuous control monitoring, which as internal audit professionals, the knowledge that we possess is very good, and which is where we can actually define the deepest level of, you know, transactions and come and tell that this is what we need to analyze on. So any idea, guys? I'm talking a lot, guys. I'm not used to talking so much. Any questions? Yes, please.
No, I have just a perspective of the analytics part. What happens is generally the analytics, the companies are focused more on the plug-and-play solutions, or there is a ready-made product, they deploy it and then try to collect results. But I think the first problem that any company or the internal audit team faces is today, as you said, because of digitalization, there are 15 to 20 systems or 100 systems in some of the clients as well. So what happens is, the first thing I think is a self-service analytics. The data, let it be the concepts of data lake or tomorrow it's SQL database. The data has to be presented in a structured way and then transformed even to the users, end users, and they should have an ability to do the basic analysis. So with that point, without addressing that point, whatever automation or the company does it doesn't serve the purpose, because the company, the users will assume that it's at the end of the day the system is doing it and it will do it accurately. But if I have the data like I do in Excel, instead of that I do it.
Exactly.
That is the main point that most of them tries not to address, or they forget.
Yeah, which is the reason I stressed on that, and which is where the data lake or how you are getting the data is very important and very critical, and which is where you need to have a long-term solution with your IT team rather than having a shortcut solution, because short-term it will not work, guys. This is not like something, you know, you will put a system in 2 दिन में, you know, सब हो गया काम खत्म, I have to go home and sleep. It will not work like that. It will increase your work initially, guys. It will increase your work. I also thought that first I gave in one of the clients, what I did is, boss, 6 months I will give you the ROI, 3 months I will give you the ROI. I got badgered with that client first time 4-5 years back. This is a story. I got badgered because it takes time to settle. It takes that much amount of effort in the initial time to get it up and running. It will not happen overnight. If you think that this is like some magical wand, it will not happen, guys. It will not work. This will require effort, this will require time, and this will require, and again, as I said, it's not a night job. This is a full-time job, but the amount of information that internal auditors have and the ability to do that in Excel is so good, why can't we just automate it? And the depth that we have, I am telling you, there are a lot of second line of defense controllers, financial controllers, etc. They are revalidating what they are analyzing from us as internal auditors, because the amount of knowledge that we have, both on ground, plant related knowledge, because we go on ground, right, guys? We have so much amount of knowledge that we can be really rock stars if we play it right. But if we don't play it right, then, you know, you will do it in Excel, someone will see, it will go. But if we play it right, we can really be rock stars. Yes, sir.
Looking at the scope of internal audit, I think in this perspective, we can probably, or internal auditors, they can probably throw light on what they can do, because they can really see how this data can be used. They can connect the dots at different places, and probably they can bring out something which traditionally we were not really looking at, and they can add immense value. That's what I feel.
100%, because see the amount of, the amount of knowledge, if the internal auditor I will not categorize, but amount of knowledge typically the internal auditor has is so high that, for example, plant mein one particular GRN is missing, what is happening, you know, the consumption entry is booked properly, not properly, all of that an internal auditor will know, sir. So the amount of knowledge, my knowledge on FS sector is little low, so my examples are all non-FS guys, because I have never touched FS in my life, but financial services I mean, but so all my examples are that, so please pardon me with that. But similarly, one of my other colleagues will have that kind of insurance or FS knowledge, and similarly people who are doing work over here, as Ashish is doing in Barclays, he will know what exactly needs to be analyzed, and the amount of business knowledge that we possess is much, at times I feel is much higher, and it is proven also, sir. At times I feel it is much higher, and it is proven also that the financial controllers are actually taking details from us.
If you want a financial services example, I can add one. Okay, so any of these regulated banks, now you suddenly will say, okay, you need to provide assurance on wire transfer regulations. It's a very simple statement, no? Earlier it was fund transfer regulation, now it is wire transfer regulation, and every another day one new regulation comes to you. So think of this, wire transfer regulation audit is on the plan. Q2 you have to do the audit. You start thinking, you're the audit owner, what really we are going to be testing there. We start planning quite ahead of time. Of course you need to know what the regulation is, what the standard is, and what the SOP is, right? Top down. Nothing can supersede either of them. So now imagine a size of Barclays Bank, which does millions of international payments every day, and you as an auditor are going to be providing assurance knowing that the report is going to go to the stakeholders, to the regulators, etc., right? See the power of data analytics. What is wire transfer regulation? Simple live example of financial services. All your incoming SWIFT international payments, which is very well structured, formatted, you need to see in field 50A, is the originating customer having any meaningful information, right? What is the intent? So that there is no risk of money laundering here. We need to know who the originator of the payment is, so that we know the name, their address, their bank account number, etc. So there should not be anything which is misleading. See, ultimately the system is a system. It will not know ABCDEFG is a name, or it is a random alphabet to fool the system, right? So that's why we then use data analytics, and we put in certain rules which expects to screen field 58 to see if there's anything meaningful. Is there anything irrelevant? Are there any random characters? There was a situation where one of the banks got fined to say on the behalf of was written in field 58. So that is where when we use DA, we see so many exceptions. It helps you go and do targeted sampling. It actually helps you in doing spear fishing, right? It's not about just throwing a net and Joe findings aa gaye. You can really chase them. So there are tons of examples of the power of data analytics. This is just one, and a beautiful journey of investment in data analytics is very critical. I mean, just to the point which you were saying on second line, actually validating the results of third line. Honestly, my belief is, I think third line is far ahead from first and second line. They need to do a lot of investment in the capability of data analytics. And that is not a choice. I think there are two sets of people you need in the team. One is coders or self-servicers. Of course, simple data analytics can be used through Excel sheets, but you need to know someone, you need to have someone who knows SQL, Python, or invest in that journey of DA level 1, DA level 2, DA level 3. It's also motivation. There are a lot of people who you will find, I am not someone who likes coding, but I like identifying those situations which need to be coded.
Yeah, those ideas which need to be coded, and which is where if you only put coders, we have failed miserably. We thought data analytics first, again 3-4 years back, we put coders. They did very basic stuff because they didn't know the business. Then we put actually a combination of a business guy and a coder, things changed dramatically. Things changed dramatically because till then it was not working well, because it is not only a coder's job, it is not a business guy's job alone, because you will need a coder. unless you know it by yourself also. And there are certain tools where you can learn, and you know, for the young professionals, you can really upskill yourself by learning that. Sorry, yeah, there was a question there as well. Sorry, yeah, I'll just come to you, sir. One second.
So how do you explain unsupervised learn?
Sorry?
Sorry? There's one more slide which is there, but
Yeah, we have 15 more minutes. We have 15 minutes before we wrap up the session. So do you want to just finish your slide and then
okay, just give us, yeah, sure. Just give us 5, sure, sir. So the second part was on the field work, and then the third part was on the whole reporting side, right? So the reporting side, again, not very critical, I would say, as much as field work is with regards to analytics and using some of these advanced technologies for you to help you out. Reporting side, you can really use with regards to converting your data back in a report format, which is where NLG is getting used, and which is where, for example, you type only once, and depending on your issue, the learning that that particular machine has, it keeps on repetitive, and it will give you options as well, that this is how you want to draft your issue, or this is how you want to draft your issue. It is 95-97% accurate, but again, situation, if it is very unique, it will change, but otherwise it will give you the output in a great manner where you can actually use that and close your report faster. So the next slide, I just want to focus on the overall journey, right? How you can really do this transformation. So firstly, guys, it is a mindset change. I don't think so this is, as I'm, kept on saying, this is like one person's jobs or a night job. This is something where you will have to focus it as a program. You will have to engage with lot of stakeholders, IT being the first one. Second is also, why don't you engage with your second line and first line together? Meaning, it's not that you're making something which is, out of the box and not for them, right? At the end of the day, they have to utilize this on an ongoing basis. So which is where you need to engage with your first line and second line, I think, upfront. And when we did that, actually the output that we got was really good, because they are also using some of these things. So for example, the guy used to sit and spend 7 days, so 7 into 8, whatever, 60-70 hours, making a simple MIS, right? Now how we helped second line of defense, we actually made that through analytics. While we were doing our exception analytics, we also made that particular aspect for him. And it really, helped them, because then he could actually complete that whole 7 days ka job in an hour or 30 minutes. Actually, it is running on an auto mode right now, because we have an RPA or a bot who is actually extracting the data, and the analytics is doing the analytics and giving the output in an Excel sheet or a visualization dashboard. So that is how we are helping second line of defense. And which is where, the entire engagement with the stakeholder in this whole transformation journey will become very important, and that will actually create a lot of importance for the internal auditors rather than anyone else, because that is how your goodwill in the system will improve. And we have seen that happening significantly in the companies where we have implemented. The second is that you need to have a roadmap with regards to how is the roadmap going to work, right? Meaning, what is the first step, what is the second step, what is the roadmap? You need to have some sort of strategy around your whole digital roadmap for IA. It is not like, so today let's do P2P, tomorrow let's do HR payroll, tomorrow let's do wire transfers. It's not like that. Some planning, it will change, it will evolve as always, but you need to have a proper roadmap so that you can reconcile with the IT as well. Because sometimes what happens, you want to do X, but that data is not available. Then there is no point in doing X initially. You can actually do Y initially, and X process you can actually do it later. So which is where the whole roadmap is very important. Investment, it takes time, energy, money, and as I said, it is not like today you you do this and tomorrow you get the output. So it will require investments, it will require proper planning of investments. Unnecessary don't commit, because some of these systems etc takes time to settle down. So be very thoughtful in your planning with regards to how you want to adapt the entire digital IA journey and how you want to really use this. The last piece is around the skill sets, which we covered when Ashish said that, you know, so it's not only about business guys, it's not only about coders. It is, in my view, there are three people required. So one is the business guy, second is the process owner who is looking at the data day in and day out, and third is the coder. Coder, in my view, is the simplistic job, but we give lot of importance to that. We give huge amount of importance to that, but in my view that is simplistic job. The people over here, the kind of knowledge that y'all have, and if you apply your mind, whatever guys you are doing in Excel, simple hai, wohi karna hai. It's not very rocket science. Wohi and something more additional, that's it. But if imagine today you have taken 130, 140 hours doing that same thing in Excel, doing analysis, tomorrow it becomes automated if you are doing the same area again next time, right? So it is like a no-brainer, but we need to plan it properly, then only it will happen. If we plan it abruptly, you will not get right results. You will, you know, fight with your boss, CFO or whosoever is your boss is, and then things will not work out right. So you need to plan it effectively in your, it's like an implementation of an ERP for the IT guys. So it is not like, you know, you can just plan it, meaning SAP implementation may take a long time, but this also will take some amount of time and energy. So it's not like, you know, you can just implement it. I think that's broadly I had to cover in 45 minutes. Happy to take questions, sir.
Yes, please.
Sorry, yeah. Sorry.
You did mention on unsupervised learning models in
Right,
advanced analytics.
right.
So how do you actually substantiate the results that is coming out of the model? Because it's pretty much a black box approach. So explaining the model to your co-auditors becomes a challenge, and how do you put it before the client as well?
So it is a super time consuming job, no denial on that. But there are certain data sets where it is very difficult to predict. So this specifically happens where you want to predict certain areas before it is going wrong. You want to basically help to highlight or give it a red flag is the area where we have used unsupervised model. So be it in your customer data, be it in your you know, certain specific business where for example in an FMCG company, where you know, you sell a lot of material to Amazon, heaps of transaction again. Now your key and whatever is Amazon putting it as inward, those two in quite a few cases don't match, and hence there are a lot of unreconciled amount, which is where we are trying to use unsupervised models, where basically it will sit on both the data, try to correlate that and give certain structure and analyze it better. But it is time consuming. It is not like, again, it is much more time consuming than your normal analytics.
Okay, we just have time for 2 questions. I think even you want to ask one, right?
I think one.
We'll just have 2 questions, please, because we have another session start. Maybe first with you, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. So digitalization is a way in life. So all these templates you have dropped, actually P2P and order to cash and everything. So this, what are the challenges in building the template and this control template? How it has to be mapped and everything? What are all the challenges?
See, I'll tell you again, as I mentioned, it's not a lift and shift kind of job. Today, I will have a template in company A working very nicely. But if it is not implemented rightfully in company B and all the false positives, see, because the data See, I'll give you a simple example, right? We had a template, we removed MB51 report from SAP, for example, and there was only one change in that template. So the table columns which are mentioned was not mentioned correctly. So in one company it was mentioned as accounting period, so ACCOUNTING, and in another it was mentioned as ACCTG dot. Now when we ran lift and shift model, if you don't take care of these nuances, your output will not come out right. So it's not like a lift and shift model. Lift and shift, again, it will be a good starter. I am not denying that, but you will have to, for your company, get into those details with regards to what is it that you see. It is nothing, analytics is nothing but basically you are comparing various tables together and you are comparing that and throwing exceptions. So what you are comparing, you need to be very sure of. So it will take time and effort in that particular aspect.
Thank you. Last question, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'd like to add two more significant points.
Sure, sir.
One is, as you said, all the scope and other things are okay. Regarding due diligence auditor, it is emerging. What's your thought on that?
Due diligence of third party?
Due diligence of the company itself, suppose process monitoring or process validation or payment validation.
Yeah, so there is a process mining kind of ability as well that we have. So what it does is, it will basically, for example, again I'll just take P2P as an example. Right from your request stage to your payment stage, how your SAP is acting and which are the transactions which has not gone through the right funnel, it can throw out. So that can actually help in your overall due diligence output, if I have understood your question rightly.
Yes, correctly. Then second point is, as general auditor, we are doing lot of things. Thought on that, what would be the performance matrix, like that, what in that year, what we are value added, what we have done, and how it can be.
So I think one of the, a very good point actually, one of the thing also which I forgot to spoke earlier is that in your KPIs, in your performance indicator, you should actually see as to what is the digitization journey that you are wanting to actually aim for. And then actually if you start tracking towards that, maybe 1 or 2 years you will fail, but over a period of time, you can actually earn a lot of brownie points from your CFO, actually. And this also goes in their scorecard as well, because you are actually implementing analytics for them, right?
Okay, I think you said there's one more question, right?
Yeah,
I don't want to disappoint you, please.
Yeah, he's waiting.
Let the mic come to you, please. 1 sec.
Thank you for your informative session, sir. So there are a couple of questions which I want to check. One is, as we speak a lot of technologies like ML, NLP and everything, what would you consider as like a accuracy rate? As in like even for the industry standards as well, what would you be considered like a good accuracy rate when we do these predictive analytics? So that is one. And again, like the time to take the maturity level. So once we implement, basis on like various case studies, what would you consider like if I implement analytics, how long it will take to get a maturity level? So that is one. And the other thing is, other technologies we spoke about is RPA and like Alteryx, other data analytics tool, right? So when should we use which tool? Like when should we use RPA? And even some cases we can use by scheduling the reports and automating using Alteryx, and which again we can schedule it as like other visualization tools. So we can do approach in that way as well. So when we should use RPA and this method?
So I think which tool to use when is a very big subject. I don't think so there is any one common answer to that, because it will depend on how your data is stored, what is your internal IT architecture which is there, how your data is going to come, and from there it will come to the analytics engine, right? So it is It is very dependent on your IT architecture and how your data is there. So I won't have any one answer that this is best for you, because it all depends on what is your scalability possibility, meaning how much you want to scale it, where is it that you want to use it further, what kind of data sets will it be. So I don't think so we can take that, we can give that answer in isolation. As far as your first answer is concerned, in terms of time investment, right?
Time investment and accuracy.
Yeah, so accuracy, unsupervised and supervised machine learning cases, we have seen 97, 98%. The customer reconciliation example which I was giving, we have seen up to 93%. But that 7% is still there because we have to make it learn. Time, it took more than a year, boss. So it's not going to happen overnight. It took more than a year for us to reach to this 95, 97, 98 level of accuracy. Now only fear in that is because the business processes and business models are changing so fast. If you invest so much in this and tomorrow, God forbid, that particular front end process changes, so everything goes for a toss. So that is where, you know, you will have to play your bets very carefully with regards to what you want to do first and what you can keep it later and stuff like that. And some of these examples which I am giving also is not more from internal audit perspective, but again helping the second line of defense more rather than doing it as internal audit.
Perfect. On that note, thank you so much, Jaishil. Please give a big round of applause to
Hope
him.
it was useful, guys.
So clearly consultants do take advice, right? So he was very conscious to ensure the language is very simple. So thank you for that. And needless to say, see, some of the KPIs are also, if we ask ourselves, why can't we use data analytics in our audits, and you make it documented, you will be forced to think. So there are organizations today where, as per the audit methodology, they expect you to document why you can't use data analytics. That is one way to drive your thinking, and to also leave documentation. The moment you're told to document, now then ownership, accountability, responsibility, everything starts coming from everywhere. So that is one thing. Second thing, it's clearly a double-edged sword, right? So once you get your tool set, your proof of concept is extremely critical. Like you say, design assessment before you run the whole script onto your complete population. Else you can obviously run to the risk of false assurance, which is unacceptable. So that's another bit which I just wanted to talk to you about. And on that note, I would now like to request our BOG Joint Secretary, Mr. Padmanabhan sir, if you could please give a memento to our speaker of the day, Mr. Jaishil Shah.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Well done.
Thank you.